Zisette. This is the amazing Sarah Wilcox. We just taught a workshop at Cabin Fever 2016. It was called Advanced Flourishes, but it was also mostly just how to be awesome and cool on the contra dance floor. Alright, first thing that we talked about was, as a dancer, and no matter what you're dancing, there is an anatomical way to do it correctly. The correct way is to get into a very nice shoulders over knees over toes, athletic position. And we did this by jumping, we did this by imagining stuff. You can do this any way that you want, but that's very important because it provides balance, it provides a baseline so that you never get tripped or flipped off. We also talked about tone. Whereas you can have no arms and you still feel a stretch, you still lead stuff, or you have lots of arms, but they stay static, and you still feel a stretch, and you can still lead stuff. Contra dance is a pretty high tone dance, therefore we're gonna pick this one, okay? Cool. Okay. The next thing that we talked about was our connection, okay? And how this dance is a momentum or inertial-based dance where we use momentum to lead things and not arms. None of this. Okay? And that's important to understand inertia. So walking, I stop. What's the pass by? Cool. Do it again. Walking, we're both going. I stop. Lift a hand. It turns into a twirl. Okay? It was not led by doing this at all. It's very uncomfortable. Okay? The other inertia or the other momentum is the circle kind. I stop, lets her just spin out naturally, not because there was a cranking involved. Ever. Okay? That's no-no. Okay. Okay. The next thing we talked about was follows. When you're twirling, hand stays there the whole time. It needs to stay under. We're completely over top your center of gravity. Okay, or else you'll get thrown off your axis, and then you'll trip. And that's important, and it's up to you to keep your hand there. It's not up to the gent to keep your hand there. In fact, when the gent goes to lead a twirl, puts a hand up, and then their job is done, and then the follow will twirl however they see fit. And then they'll reconnect, and you'll be like, that was a great twirl. We should do that more often, you and I. Cool. The next thing that we learned is we learned about applying all these things to a lady's chain. So for example, I keep her in her line because my momentum is very stable. Let me face the cameras. Keep her in a straight line, bump, bump, and I go all the way around. I do all the work, or as much as I can do, because I want her to feel as smooth as she can feel. It'll be very easy. It doesn't matter what flourish you do with it, still the same thing. We learned this flourish, we press on the shoulder, just lightly, and then she'll rotate at her own little pace. Okay, one more time. Hand there, she feels tension, she turns, and you can move up, make sure that they're on that line. Cool. Bump, bump. The next thing that we learned is we learned about all the spaces in contra dance where we can add flourishes. We learned about individual space where you are not touching or connected with anybody, where you can do your own thing, however you want to jam out to a dance. Right? We also learned about space with a couple or with somebody else who's in on it, is the word that we used. And if we're not touching anybody, like in a balance and swing, we can do anything that we want. As long as you're back on time for the next move. We also learned that if there are other people in the dance, and as long as you don't interfere with the connection, if they're in on it, then you can have a super party. Maybe we're doing a hands for. That party. And as long as you're back to where you need to be on time, you can flourish however you want, however you so desire, as long as it's appropriate. Right. The next thing that we learned is, well, we applied that to a hey, we applied that to a petronella, we applied that to something else. Promenade, we applied it to promenading, right? And all these different ideas of who's in on it and whether you know or not, and where is the space so that you can add a flourish, and where there isn't space so that you know that you need to be there to maintain the form and the connection of the dance, which is completely, truly vital to the whole operation. The last thing that we learned is a little bit of an introduction to role swapping is it doesn't matter what role you're in, because I can lead or follow from any role. I can lead from this one, even though I'm in the ladies' traditional role. Does that make sense? Okay? So it doesn't matter who's leading or following. This is just a position. But it's important to put somebody where they need to be as long as you're going in. Also, you change roles by setting your tone level somewhere, and then the follow goes right there. That's very important. So if I'm like, I want this much tone, the follow goes right. If they don't, if they stay too low, right, they'll be too heavy and they'll be slouchy, and you have to put a lot of more effort, more than you think you should. Okay? If they're above you, right, you can't actually lead anything because there'll be too much resistance. Okay? In fact, if they're above you, that means that they're leading now. So the way to switch traditionally, who's leading and who's following, despite whatever position you're in, is one person is leading, and then the other one tones up just above them. This one realizes, oh, they're gonna say something, okay? And so they listen really hard, and then this person's now leading, okay? And it looks like this. I guess you guys can't really look like anything, but I'm leading, dumpa-dum. All she does is a little tone up, and I'm like, whoa, okay, and I'm listening. Okay, and I tone up, and now she's listening. Okay, that's how it works. How we applied it to contra dance, though, is we said, make sure, when in doubt, that you always ask consent. You want a role swap? Yes, cool, awesome. She can also say no. Do you want a role swap?
Nothing.
That's fine by me. I actually really like leading. In fact, I do it all the time. So, when you want to trade roles, you want to trade it not by stealing it. You don't want to tone up because that can get a little hairy sometimes. You want to give it away. Does that make sense? So if I'm leading, I want to give away because it's the smoothest. Nope, you're leading now. Cool. And she signed up for it, so it's cool. Right? She knows that I'm going to do this. And there's cool ways to do this. You can figure them out, but we showed one. One of them was this. I'll do it slowly. Go under. Hand here, hand up, there, bam. It was like a cool flourish. I'll do a fast motion because that always looks pretty cool and stuff. Okay. Okay. And that was the workshop at Cabin Fever 2016. Thank you very much.